I was stuck in this loop, and I remember him saying that to me, and he recommended that I try ketamine. And all I could think of ketamine, I was like, Special K, like the drug that people used to take.
All right, everybody, welcome to episode 8 of Spiraling Together. Today's episode title is Bridging Worlds, Mother-Daughter Psychedelic Experiences.
Ooh, I'm excited about this.
I know this one's going to be pretty out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be a little flashy.
Flashy.
Yeah.
It's just real. It's what's going on. It's the truth of what we've experienced and what has helped us and helped so many others.
Yeah. I guess, well, I kind of wanted to dive right into it.
Yeah. I do too.
But ask you questions because you have a lot more experience in this aspect than I. And I think this journey, well, might have started before COVID, but I feel like your main thing that happened with psychedelics was during COVID.
It was. And before we even dive in, what we're going to share is the experiences that we've had to heal, and we are advocates for finding what works for you for your journey. And obviously, we encourage you to always be safe and to even have help if you're deciding to use any type of psychedelics. So,
yeah, I forgot a little disclaimer, I guess you would say. We're in no means trying to tell you that this is what you should go do to change your life.
But it is an option, and it is something that has greatly, greatly helped me and many other people that I know. And of course, it's pretty mainstream now. Psychedelics are.
Right.
It's not like this is like an underground thing. It's being used to help, and it's being researched. So,
and the difference is using it for
recreational or medicinally.
Exactly. So, do your research. But these are our experiences.
Yes.
Back to it.
Okay. Let's do this.
Yes. Talk me through COVID.
Okay. Well, I was already struggling with my mental health before COVID even hit. So when 2020 rolled around, I was already experiencing, I was in a loop, and I was getting very burned out in my career. And I decided to finally go to a doctor, which is something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to be on any type of prescription meds because I didn't have a great experience with them when I was a teenager. I actually overdosed on a bottle of my own antidepressants. So I was trying so hard to not go to a psychiatrist. But I had a friend that was like, hey, this psychiatrist is different. He works with psychedelics, and he works with other medications that could possibly help you. And I remember going in and meeting with him, and I was at such a low point that I couldn't even really understand the words he was saying, because I remember him saying this to me, you're stuck in a loop. And I didn't know what that meant until later throughout my healing journey. So whenever you are stuck in a loop, basically your nervous system has been so unregulated for so long that you are just stuck in these repeating patterns and these repeating thoughts and these repeating themes of consciousness. And a lot of them can be things like guilt, just feeling a lot of guilt and just like because you feel so low, because you haven't taken care of yourself. You're just feeling all of these things. So anyway, I was stuck in this loop, and I remember him saying that to me, and he recommended that I try ketamine. And all I could think of ketamine, I was like, Special K, like the drug that people used to take clubbing. Like I was just like, I'm going to trust this.
It does sound like something that's pretty crazy. And when you boil it down, ketamine, you think horse tranquilizer?
Exactly.
Like what?
Right. So I just remember being so desperate and not wanting to go on prescription meds and just going like, okay, let's do this. I mean, I'll be honest, when I was younger, I did LSD and things like that when I was young, but I never did it in a way that I thought was anything other than recreational.
To escape.
As
a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything I did was always to escape. Even into my adulthood, things were to escape.
Yeah.
But I remember my first session of ketamine, I went in and they, injected it or put it in IV or something like that. I don't remember exactly because, again, I was really, really, really in a low state. But I sat back and I just remember that I found myself, and it was like I was flying up over the world, and it was like this message that just came to me that was like, you're stressing out about nothing. It was just like this, like all of these things you're worrying about, you don't have to, like, let it go. And I remember coming out of it and I just felt a sense of relief immediately from that. But then it was like going back home to all the same things and still seeing all the same patterns. So it's not like it just cured me in that one dosage. Mm-hmm. But I had a few sessions. And then my doctor also told me, he was like, honestly, psilocybin is what I recommend if you can get some or go somewhere that you can find psilocybin. Mm-hmm. Psilocybin actually rewires your brain and connects your neurotransmitters, your neuroreceptors. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah, I remember watching a YouTube video about that. It like connects things in your brain that aren't usually connecting.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so much research now on psilocybin. And there's even, there's just so many different studies they're doing studies on veterans right now.
Yes.
And there's a Clarity Hawaii, I believe, who is someone that I follow on Instagram, and they're doing really good work to educate the benefits of psilocybin and mm-hmm. how it can rewire your brain and help you with PTSD, depression, everything like that. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, psilocybin's probably one of the only psychedelics I've done that I've experienced like a healing, I would say. Funny enough, the first time I did shrooms was with you.
That's
LOL.
True. Yes, because you also experienced during COVID
my lowest point, I would say. Yeah, I think for me, I was a high school grad during 2020, right when it all started. And I think I had this pathway for my life that I had seen since I was a kid. But so much had changed in between, being a kid in Texas and having these thoughts about going to college in Texas and this whole life, that it finally all caught up when I was here and graduating, and I wasn't getting my prom and I wasn't getting the graduation I thought I would have. And then I was like, well, my whole life has led up to this, and I had put these experiences that I'm not going to get on a pedestal. And when that fell through, I was like, what's the point? And now who knows what's going on with the world anyways. And I kind of just let everything crumble. And I didn't know how to crawl out of it. And I feel like I kept trying to. And I kept like trying to implement things. But that I feel like I cried every single day of quarantine. Like there was not a day that I didn't feel horrible. And I was smoking weed every day, which is something else. It's not a psychedelic, but it's a drug. It's something to escape.
Right, exactly. Escape.
And I smoked so much, and I like felt so bad for myself so much to the point where I made myself sick from weed. And I started greening out, like throwing up from smoking too much all the time. And then one day I realized, like, I'm purposely doing this now. And so I just was going lower and lower for quite a while.
Yeah, and as a mom, when you know that your child is struggling, the only thing that is super present in our current society is take your child to a therapist and get them on drugs immediately, or get them on prescription meds immediately. And that's like the only option. And because of my own personal experience, I was like, nope, we're not doing that. I would much rather my child and I experience a psychedelic trip on a mushroom that literally grows out of the earth that has been used for thousands of years as a treatment. You know, it's a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They're little santos niños, they're called. But I was like, you know what? I am going to be that mom that does something a little bit different. Because I almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a coma for 5 days. I was read my last rites. I was told that my parents were told that I was not going to make it. Because most prescription antidepressants actually make the symptoms worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, Chloe? I did this, and I would like you to, well, I just offered it and said,
Yeah.
would you like to try this? Would you like to do something a little bit different? I'm obviously going to do whatever it is that you want to do. But from what I know, these are the things.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I still remember that day.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we took shrooms and then we went outside because we were like, nature. And then
Yes.
our neighbor came out and was like talking to us. And we were like, oh.
And do you remember the little mushroom? Like we looked down on the ground and there was little mushrooms growing out of the ground. But that's one of the beautiful things about psilocybin is it really connects you so much, and you can see and feel the oneness of everything.
Yeah.
And then when we went back inside, that's when I think it kicked in to where it was the healing of it.
Yeah.
Which, do you want to talk a little bit about the things that you experienced? Or
I remember when we went inside, I laid down and I was staring up at the ceiling, and we had wooden ceilings, and you look at the like pattern of it, and it was like, kind of like looking interesting. And then all of a sudden I just like, there were just tears coming out of my eyes. And I was like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just like crying. And then it was like, I got hit with a wave of like more emotion. And I just started like talking about, I guess, stuff that I was realizing about myself. And yeah, I don't know. It was really weird because, again, if you listen to the podcast or not, I have always had a hard time about like speaking up about myself and my feelings and emotions and stuff like that. And all of a sudden I was just spewing all this stuff to you.
Yeah, you told me some very deep things, some things that as a mom, I was like, oh my gosh, I just felt so much compassion for you. And just at that time, I didn't know some of the things that you were going through. And for you to admit those to me and like be able to cry and to release those emotions, that is part of healing. That energy that gets trapped inside of us is what causes our depression or anxiety or anything like that. And having psilocybin there to help you clear that out and speak and tell me what it was you were experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you remember when you also, you like looked at the carpet and you were like, it's so beautiful. And you were just like, it's so beautiful. I've never seen anything this beautiful. And it was just it was really sweet because it was beautiful. Like life is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And we forget that as humans because we get so caught up in our mind and our daily grind that we forget to stop and really appreciate
the carpet
or just life or
yes.
who we're with.
Exactly.
We're so focused on the future of like what we need to do and where we need to get, or we're focused, if we're like depressed, we're on the past and the mistakes we might have made or the things that have happened to us, and we're not enjoying the present moment. And psychedelics can really help with that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And also, I don't know if you remember this part, but you were like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and you came back and you were like, Mom, I looked in the mirror and I'm so beautiful. I don't know why I think I'm not beautiful. I'm just so, and I was like, you are so beautiful, sweetheart. It peels the layers back so that you can see your soul. And you can realize that you're not just the skin. Mm-hmm. You're so much more. Yeah.
Throwback.
That was a good journey. It was very healing. And what you'll feel after the days after is you will still continue to feel the connection and the way that your brain was rewired mm-hmm. during that session.
Yeah.
And you can do more research on psilocybin because there are different dosage levels.
Yeah, which I was going to say, I have never done like
a hero.
Really, like, yeah, so there's a hero's dose, and that's when you experience ego death.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that? Because I've never done that.
Yeah, so I've done probably I've done 3 hero doses, and that is actually what my doctor recommended to really get the benefits of the rewiring of the brain. And that's not something you need to do very often, and it's also something that is good to not do alone. Have a sitter with you, so somebody that can hold your hand during the journey. And what I did with that is I was blindfolded and I laid in bed and I was in a safe place, and I knew that I didn't need to do anything else or be anywhere else. I had nothing to take care of because it can last like 5 to 7 hours. Mm-hmm. But during that time, it feels like there's an intensity. Things just come up, and you in that moment, if you try to hold on to them, it's kind of like you just can't. You just let it go And then each thing that comes through during these journeys just gives you an opportunity to let things go. So kind of like that, what you said, the ego death. Each time you feel it, you'll see something and you just let it go. And when you're done, like I said, the next days, you just feel so connected and you have these huge realizations that the things that you were worrying about are not worth worrying about anymore. Mm-hmm. It's unnecessary stress that we just take on.
Yeah. Aloha, listeners. We hope you're enjoying this episode of Spiraling Together. We're just taking a quick break to remind you about a few things.
If you're loving what you hear, we ask you to please follow, like, and subscribe to our podcast. Your support helps us reach more people who might benefit from our conversations.
And we're on all the major social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for Spiraling Together, and you'll see all our latest updates and behind-the-scenes content.
We absolutely love hearing from you. Your comments, likes, and shares mean the world to us. They not only motivate us to keep us going, but also helps us create better content for you.
So, if you have any feedback, questions, or topics you'd like us to cover, please leave us a comment or send us a message. We read every single one and appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you so much for supporting Spiraling Together. Your engagement and feedback are what keep us inspired and passionate about bringing you more vulnerable conversations.
Now, let's get back to the show.
It's really, really good medicine, especially if you are struggling with your mental health, whether that's depression or PTSD or anything like that. Obviously, I know there's contraindications. So don't go into any of this lightly. I know there's even places that you can go to, like facilities, if you don't feel comfortable with, just
taking what. Yeah, if you haven't done it before, it's and you just need people, or
being around people, not just going out and like taking it and like driving, or definitely don't want to drive,
not knowing a dosage, or just you need to know what you're taking, setting intention behind it if you're not somewhere that's facilitating it to you.
I love that you said that. It's setting the intention before that you're going into this for healing purposes, that you're not doing it just so that you can see all the cool things and I'm not saying that
I haven't done that before.
Well, yeah, we've yeah.
But I think there's something beautiful in that too. I mean, it might not be like a personal healing thing, but I would say that another time that I took shrooms, and it might not have been for healing, but was with like a group of my friends. And if you do it with people that you love and everybody has good intention behind it, and it's not just to take drugs and whatever, you're still going to have a beautiful experience. And the unity that I felt with those people and the love that you feel for those people is so immense. And it's like you don't want it to end, but like, of course, it's an experience. And you do have to remember that is the purpose of this thing you're taking. It is for the beauty of things and to get more connected with everything, with nature, the people around you, and not to get stuck in that world though.
Right.
Because it is a very beautiful thing. It can not be very beautiful, but if you get lost in the bliss of it and you want that all the time, that is where it can go wrong.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about this, because there needs to be an integration period after you experience psychedelics so that you can integrate what you learned during this experience into your life. Because the point of healing is actually becoming aware of the cycles that you repeat in your life and wanting to make changes. And so not just going from experience to experience to experience, because I've definitely witnessed a lot of people that do that. And I just really don't believe that that's healing. I believe, like I said, it's just like chasing that bliss, chasing like living in this 5D consciousness or whatever all the time, which is not true healing.
And it's not real anymore.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And there's also, when we're talking about psilocybin, there are different, like we talked about earlier, dosages. There's even micro dosing where you don't even have a psychedelic experience. And so some people will start there because maybe they do have a bit of a fear of the psychedelic part of the psilocybin that happens with larger doses.
Yeah.
Whereas the microdosing, you don't have any of the visual effects from it. And a lot of people have actually had a very, like they have had a lot of healing just doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to something crazier that you've done?
Oh gosh, something crazy. Is it crazy?
Maybe not.
Well, you know that I
would say it's not as common.
I'm open
crazy.
to discussing
Sort of.
because my journey, there isn't anything that I don't want to share, because if it could possibly help someone the way it's helped me, then I am willing to discuss.
Ayahuasca. Yeah.
The grandmother. So, yeah. Do you have anything you want to know about it, or do you just want me to go into it?
Yeah, talk about experiences, what led you to doing it.
So again, it was like once I had an awakening to the traumas that we face as humans and the amount of things that went on during my life and the things that I know that have been passed on generationally, it was like I was on a mission to just being able to feel better and come back to peace within myself, or even not even come back to it, just experience it. I really wanted to feel peace, and I wanted my life to feel differently. And I didn't want to fall back on Western medicine. So when I was trying everything that I could, I had a friend say, "Have you considered ayahuasca?" And I was like, "No, I don't even know what that is." And so I did a little research on it, and I was nervous, but there was something inside of me that was just like, try it. You know, I'm the kind of person that goes all in. Like I'm not someone who just like, oh, I jump in, like I'm doing a healing journey. Watch this. Like I'm going to go all into this, right? I'm doing whatever it is. I want to do it.
I know.
Yeah. I'm not scared of trying to become a better me. And so I had an opportunity to go to this ayahuasca retreat. And so I went, and it was very intense. Not going to lie. It was extremely intense. The first night, it was a 3-night. The first night I was purging the medicine. After you drink it, there was a period where I didn't even think it was really working. And then once it started working, I was like, wow. And the visuals are very powerful. And then I started purging, and I just remember I was just crying, and it was like I was seeing all of these things coming up from my father's line. It was like I was experiencing the things he experienced. My father, he took his life when I was 4, and so I didn't really know him much. But there were, it was like I was experiencing, and I was just purging out all of these things. And I was crying and moaning. And one of the helpers came over and just said, Valerie, this is what the medicine does. And if you can just breathe and allow it to happen, it'll be a lot easier. And because I was trying to fight it, but the medicine was helping purge it out. So...
Sorry.
We live in Hawaii, and there was a gnat that
Bug just landed on my forehead.
We try.
Whoops.
As I'm also looking at a lizard on the wall right now. But the thing that I really want to talk about is the second night. Okay. Mm-hmm. This night, once I purged more, it was like a light came on, and I saw this beautiful glowing rainbow ball, and it was like both masculine and feminine were talking to me, and it was saying, we've always been here with you, like a mother-father figure. We've always been here with you. And what that meant to me was growing up, and I know this is we live in a very patriarchal society. We grew up in Texas, and I thought that God was only a father. And that never felt right to me. It just never did. Like, where's the mother in that? Where's the birther? And so that experience helped me on my spiritual journey so much. I can't even explain how much healing that was for me, to know that it's a mother and a father and not just a father. It just felt so comforting. So without ayahuasca, I wouldn't have been able to heal some of the spiritual trauma, or not spiritual, but the religious trauma that I had. And so I did ayahuasca a total of 6 times, and I feel complete with the medicine, but it did help me immensely. And I believe that if you go to a facility and you have the right people there, it can be life transforming. Mm-hmm. Some people go to Peru, some people go to Costa Rica, some people go to different parts of the world to experience this medicine. And again, it's not something that you want to do every week.
Right.
Yeah, it's something that you can use as a medicine and integrate it, and even have people help you with that integration of what you experienced, because it is intense, but it is also something where, part of healing is releasing control. Mm. And what that medicine really does is it's not that you're going to be out of control, but if you really allow the medicine to do what it's meant to do, and you do release control and you do surrender to it, I believe that is where you get the most healing.
Right. When do you, or like, when would you say, like, if someone wanted to do it and asked your advice, like, when should I do this? At what point in my life? Because, I mean, obviously it's anybody's personal choice.
I feel like when you feel called to do it. I don't feel like there's a right or a wrong time there could be a wrong time. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're just like invited to go do it at someone's house on a Friday night and you're not being led. No, I don't believe that that's the best choice. Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, to me, it's like you said the word intense. I was thinking that. It seems so intense that, like, I don't think I could fathom doing it, like, right now. Just because I mean, I don't feel ready, I guess. Because it does seem something that's, like, steps above other things like shrooms.
Yeah, and okay, so if you're someone that's really struggling and you just cannot get out of the loop and you're just really stuck and mentally, I think a lot of people go at that point and because they have tried everything and nothing is working and they really need a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I did Shipibo ceremonies, so they were led by curanderos and it was a shaman there, and so it was something I trusted.
Like, it felt legit.
Oh, it was absolutely it was legit. But I think it's just if you're called to it and you can trust where you're going and who you're with. But it's not something to take lightly. It is intense, but it's also, again, it's made from nature, 2 different vines, and it isn't a pharmaceutical. It's something that comes from the earth.
Yeah.
Plant medicines.
Another thing I wanted to bring up. So you brought up LSD very early on.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, it is man-made, and it is, for me, I don't personally like the body experiences that come along with it. But I know that, Ram Dass did a lot of LSD and he was able to really reach some places, during that. So I think it can definitely be beneficial if that's if that's the way. It does help you see things beyond this reality. I personally really like plant medicines because I trust that more.
Yeah, I know. Because I've done LSD as well. But in my experience, I have had way worse times on LSD than shrooms or, yeah.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten myself in like, the last time I did it was the last time I said I'd ever do it.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like the way my body felt. There's also MDMA, which I never have actually experienced personally, but I know that that's another thing that people are using, and there might actually be something recently that came out about that they were trying to outlaw that, or I don't know exactly. So I don't want to go into too much, but I feel like I saw something on social media recently where someone was still wanting to fight for that, as maybe it was Elon Musk, or I don't remember. Somebody was trying to really talk about how it had helped them.
Benefits.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Here's the thing. We have been taught, a lot of these things have been illegal, even though they are things that come from the earth. And there's a reason why we are cut off from these type of medicines. It's because, a lot of can't really control it. And also, can you imagine if everyone decided to take some psychedelics and then wake up to who they really are? Then we wouldn't be controlled. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down, and
like, I feel like this is just like funny to say. Like, when I did shrooms with my friends last time, I remember we brought a bag of chips and lychee. What did we pick?
Lychee. You had to have.
You don't, it's like you feel so we were literally like sitting on the grass in front of a pond and like opening up this lychee, and we were like, wow, like everything's so alive. Like, and we were just like looked at the chips and we're like,
Ooh.
ew,
Yeah.
processed food. I don't even want to touch it. Like, it seems so disgusting. But then it's like you get off of that and then you're like, oh, whatever. Chips, yummy.
Yeah, you just feel the connection. The plant medicines show you your connection to the other plants and to the earth.
Yeah. It's crazy. We also, I remember there was a bunch of ducks. And in the beginning, it was like we were almost like freaked out by them because there were so many of them and we had food and they kept trying to come over. But then when we were like, you know, high on shrooms, like they were just so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they would walk over, we'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Yeah, the connection to the animals too. Speaking of ducks, we just had baby ducklings born on the farm yesterday.
9 of
9
them.
little ducklings are so cute.
They are so cute.
Yeah. So, well, I feel complete.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, it's like you could feel it when it's time. Yeah. So again, the things that we're sharing are in hopes that it could potentially help someone out there that is looking for an alternative way. And do your research. There is so much of it out there. And know that there are other ways to connect and heal and come back to the truth of who you are that might not be the conventional ways that we've been taught.
Mm-hmm. And even if you listen to this episode and you still don't want to do these things, there's other ways to heal. These are just things we've decided to do. Exactly. And if you feel called to do this after this episode, just be responsible. We don't condone abusing any of these things, of course.
No.
Because they can be abused, and we would rather these be used as tools.
Yes, tools for healing. So, yeah. So, what are we talking about in our next episode? Because
we did plan that out, but I'm blanking right now.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. I think we are going to be talking about mental health.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a little bit more about mental health.
Diving into that a little bit more.
Yes, and some more deeper parts of our experiences, and then other ways that we got through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so thank you so much, everybody, for checking us out, listening to the episode, maybe watching it, as well as subscribing, liking, following, all that good stuff on social media. It really does help us out a lot, and we would like to keep improving everything for you guys, so that we can keep coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Don't judge her, just love her.
Bye.